Welcome to the games that I played in January. While I would love to take credit for this idea, and I'm sure a bunch of other YouTubers have already done something like this or do things that are like this specific video, I want to give credit to Rasputin, the YouTuber that I specifically follow who started making videos like this. Talk about them a little bit, and also I don't know where I was in the video before Carly decided to come in, so I'm just gonna go from here. I think it was at the beginning of 2023, Raz started a second channel where he started posting these compilations of the video games that he's been playing each month, and I figured whenever I started dabbling into review content and with all the games I had been playing, I thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of talk about some of the games that maybe I wouldn't talk about for a long time. Oh, also, I switched it to a different microphone. I don't know, I've been messing around with different stuff through all these videos to see what works and what doesn't, what sounds the best and what sounds the worst. I mean, the only thing that'll probably stay the same in any of these videos is this camera angle that I'm using right here. I mean, I have my other microphones and all my other stuff, and I've just been kind of testing things. So if you really like something and you hate something else, just let me know in the comments and I can kind of fix it from there, or I can go back to something if you think it was better than where I went. So now that I'm done with that tangent, let's get back to the video games that I played. So January was a pretty full month for me. I mean, I have the list in front of me on my iPad, and the list is compiled of 10 separate games. Now, I didn't necessarily beat all 10 of those games. I mean, on this list, I think I completed 3, maybe 4, and you'll again see at least 2 of these games, maybe 3 of these games on my games I played in February list, as you know, because I am currently in the middle of February, and I thought I was going to release these videos on a different schedule, and here we are. So I would like to kind of make these compilations in chronological order in terms of when I played them each month and how much time I spent on them, if I completed them, doing my little mini reviews, and I don't know. I don't know how long this series will last, but I would love to put one of these out each month. So to start things off, let's talk about Spider-Man 2, the first game I played in 2024. So, to be completely honest, I do have a Spider-Man 2018 review planned in the future that I'm currently working on, as well as a Spider-Man 2 review, and probably Miles Morales down the road, but I haven't played that game again, so I probably would do that one last, but who knows at this point. I mean, I've got so many games. The list that I could make reviews on is so long that I don't know when I'm going to get to some of these things. But I got Spider-Man 2 for Christmas last year. I decided it was finally time to give it a shot and play it. I mean, it had been out for a few months or weeks at that point. I'm not really sure timeline-wise when it released versus when I got the game, but I was really excited about playing it. It was one of my most anticipated games of 2023, so I'm really excited that I got to play it at least within the 6 months since it released, because I thought it was an amazing game. Spider-Man 2 from 2023, not the one from 2006 or whenever it came out, was honestly a really fun journey for me. While I would probably say that the game that came out in 2018, the original story from Insomniac, is a little bit better, I do think that Spider-Man 2 from 2023 is probably my favorite game from last year. While Tears of the Kingdom and Jedi Survivor both have merits and are both amazing games, I just don't think that they live up to the same hype, at least to me, as games like Spider-Man 2, story-wise at least. Maybe gameplay, they might all fall in different places, but for story, Spider-Man 2 definitely takes the cake for 2023. I'm not sure what it is about Spider-Man 2. I don't know, maybe if it's the inclusion of Venom, which, I mean, when I do my deep breakdown video of Spider-Man 2, we'll talk a little bit more about Venom and what I think they did right and what I think they did wrong with his character and his character development for that specific game, but whether it's the inclusion of Venom, being able to play as 2 separate Spider-Men throughout the series, I mean, the fact that you get to switch between them whenever you want to and do side quests, and they're different for each Spider-Man, it's super cool that Peter and Miles end up feeling like completely separate characters. I think for me personally, there's 2 things that let me down from the game, and I think it comes down to the length I think the game was a little bit too short for a full-length game. It falls in between Miles Morales and the original game in terms of length, and while I know it has a lot of detail and it has a lot of fun, and I love the beginning and middle sections of the game, I think if they would have tacked on maybe like 5 or 6 more hours where you played as Peter in the symbiote suit and then kind of rocked up to the end a little bit slower with the symbiote invasion, which is obviously a spoiler, and I'm saying it after I'm saying it, so I hope you have, if you want to play the game, you've already played the game. I just think that the game could have used a little bit more time in the oven, not for any glitches or bugs, but maybe just to flesh out the story a little bit more and give us a little bit more details when it comes to Miles and Peter. And so I'm hoping that we can get some DLC. I know they just announced New Game Plus is coming out, so I might jump back in and replay that game again here soon and do a video on it with one of my friends by the name of Shady Scripts or Shady Pass. I know he's been in my comment section telling me that we need to make a video together, so that might just be the one. And so while I didn't necessarily start Spider-Man 2 in 2024, I did finish it in 2024. I mean, I went on this long string of playing like a million games at the end of 2023. And so after I beat Spider-Man, I took a sizable break. I think I took like a week or two, maybe 3 weeks. I didn't play any games. I was just like, I need to figure out what I want to do, what I want to play. And I'm saying 2 or 3 weeks. It was probably about a week and a half, because if I played this many games in January, there's no way I took a super long break after Spider-Man, so I think I'm just remembering things wrong. After Spider-Man 2, I started 3 separate games that I kind of played on and off from each other. And that's not necessarily one more than the other one, but I did start 3 separate games, which I'll talk about in order that I started them. The first game that I started pretty much right after Spider-Man, probably within the same week, now that I'm really thinking about it, I didn't spend a lot of time away from gaming, was Plague Tale: Innocence. A Plague Tale Requiem is a game that really interested me when it came out, and I've had Plague Tale Innocence as a free PlayStation Plus game for years now, and I just never played it. It was a game that interested me. I liked the premise, and I liked the idea of what you were doing, and I honestly don't really remember any of the characters' names or much else besides the plot and some of the gameplay, because it is mostly stealth based. But I will say that if you're looking for an interesting stealth game with fun mechanics, I mean fun mechanics enough, then Plague Tale Innocence is going to be a game for you. If we're being honest here, I haven't beaten Plague Tale Innocence. I only have about, I think, 3-ish hours. I mean, I have 3 recording sessions done for the game, but I don't necessarily know how long those sessions were without looking, and I don't really feel like looking. Once I talk about the next 2 games I play and why I actually completed both of those games, you'll probably see why I put Plague Tale Innocence down, and honestly, I haven't picked it back up since, just because I've been busy playing other things. Plague Tale Innocence is a fantastic game story-wise, and the soundtrack is it's full of bangers. Like, I don't know what it is about. I think it's either a viola or a cello. It's like the way that these songs just like ring in your ears. They sound great. I mean, my favorite song's probably the song that plays during the first portion of the game where you're trying to leave your home.
That'll teach you.
No, I'm begging you. Hugo's not here.
And you, stay here.
Come on.
Very clear. Tell me, where is Hugo de Rune?
I used it in a video like a really long time ago, and I didn't know it was from Plague Tale Innocence, so when I heard it for the first time, I was like, whoa, this is insane. It definitely threw me back in time, but it fits the vibe of the game and the creepiness of the plague and all of those things. 10 out of 10. If you're looking for a game that has amazing atmosphere and stealth, Plague Tale Innocence is going to be for you. On one hand, I have Plague Tale Innocence, you know, a kind of dark, creepy-esque kind of scary, not really. It's not a horror game, but it definitely is that creepier than the other game I started playing at the same time to kind of set it off or balance it out, which is Kena Bridge of Spirits. So a few years ago, Kena Bridge of Spirits came out, and it's actually by the same creators as a YouTube short or a YouTube short movie that released of Majora's Mask. It's by Ember Studios, an amazingly talented, I think I would say double A studio at this point, but I kind of want to put them in the indie studio still because I don't know how many people are working for them. Kena Bridge of Spirits is amazing. Sadly, it came out the same year as one of my other favorite indie titles, Death's Door, and I played the hell out of Death's Door when it came out. Kena definitely fell on deaf ears for me for a while, even though I knew that I really wanted to play it. 2 years ago, I did give it a chance. I played probably first like 2 or 3 hours of the game. I beat the first major boss and I was in the second area, and I think I just got tired of playing video games because I never beat the game. So when I came back and I was looking for something fun and lighthearted and interesting and had cool lore and a cool story, Kena Bridge of Spirits was exactly what I was looking for, especially while playing the dark and the gritty version of whatever the world is in Plague Tale Innocence. I also just realized I'm not really talking about the story of any of these games, and Plague Tale Innocence is pretty old, and so is Kena, but I will explain Kena and probably the games moving forward at least a little bit, so here we go. In Kena Bridge of Spirits, you are playing as like a spirit guide, and you are trying to lead the spirits who are stuck on Earth or on whatever plane of existence they are to the afterlife, and that's pretty much the gist of the game. That's all you're really trying to do, is save this little area and find everyone their happy place and get them to where they need to go so they can move on to the afterlife. And I don't want to spoil what happens because I'm pretty sure it's like an underplayed game in terms of in the space. So if you haven't played Kena Bridge of Spirits and you want something that looks like a Pixar movie, it looks beautiful, has fun combat, has great controls, and is really fun to play, and it's a PS4, PS5 game, go play it, please. Go play the game. It deserves more love, and I think everyone should play the game. Do it. The next game I'm going to talk about, I think I only played for about an hour, and I don't think I'm ever going to pick it up again. So, spoilers here. When you play Spider-Man 2, you get to play a little tiny section as Venom. I know you probably already know that if you are a fan of Spider-Man 2, but just in case you don't, that was your little bit of a warning. The little section that you get to play as Venom, whether it be the boss fight or just running around and doing stuff, it got me interested in wondering what a real Venom game could look like, especially because Insomniac said they were going to be making one. The first game that my brain went to and I thought of a Venom game was Prototype. Prototype was a game that came out way back when on the Xbox 360 and PS3 days, and I want to like it so badly. I'm not sure if it's the combat or just the gameplay or the level styles, or I don't even know what to call the game anymore. I guess it's mostly just a beat 'em up, and maybe I'm not a fan of beat 'em ups anymore, or maybe it's just because the game is so old. I just could not get into the game. The thing that interested me about the game the most was how you level up your Venom abilities, or how you traverse the world and that kind of stuff, because I think that's an interesting way that their Insomniac is going to have to look at this game, is how can they use the Spider-Man world they've already created and add Venom to it. And I think some things Prototype did great, and other things it just didn't. So Prototype probably will never get picked up again by me. Well, I don't want to say never, but at least not for the time being. I have a lot more games I'd rather be playing than Prototype, but maybe I'll give Prototype 2 a chance and see if maybe I can feel a little bit better about that game. I do own both of them, so for right now though, I'm probably not going to go back to Prototype anytime soon. The next game on my list is not only the halfway point, but it's actually another game that I beat this month. God of War Ragnarok was an incredible sequel. I mean, I have all the same things to say about it that I said about Spider-Man 2. The only difference is I think it might be a little bit too long. The only issue with me saying that it might be a little bit too long is the fact that I don't know what to even cut out of the game and still make it feel like God of War Ragnarok. I mean, there are so many little details that I'm not going to spoil until I make a full video about the game, but coming back and playing as Kratos again, getting the new weapon and being able to mess around with the spear and unlocking different abilities. I mean, hell, even playing as Atreus, which at first I thought sucked, but as I unlocked more abilities and got to experience the story a little bit more, it was just like this incredible journey, and I'm so excited that I got to play God of War Ragnarok finally. When you compare something like Spider-Man to Spider-Man 2 and then God of War to God of War Ragnarok, I think that you're always looking for what's the next big thing. What did this game do better than the original game? Why should I go and play this besides for story reasons? And I think that Spider-Man 2, at least from a gameplay perspective, in terms of how it handles its boss fights and how it handles the traversal mechanics and how it upgrades all of those things and makes them more fun, I think it does an incredible job in comparison to something like God of War Ragnarok, which kind of feels like more of the things I already liked about the original game. I think the only thing that it really does better for me is making your companion characters a lot better, whether that be Atreus or Freya, or I think that's it. Or I mean, Sindri and Brock and everyone else that runs around as a companion character. I just think that it handles the aspects of how they work a lot better than Atreus in the original game, at least from my standpoint. The only other thing that I would say about God of War Ragnarok, even though I like the story, is that I think that the first game for me felt like it had more meaning, or that it felt more finished when it was done. While I do love God of War Ragnarok, and it's really sad to hear that I think it's the last game they're going to make with the Norse mythology, which if you've played the game, then you would see why that is. And I'm not really sure if they're going to add anything with DLC or if we're ever even going to see Kratos again, but I'm excited to see what maybe we're going to see from the studio moving forward. I mean, will we see Kratos again? I don't know, but I loved God of War Ragnarok. I loved the combat, I loved the story, I loved the world, I loved the exploration. I liked exploring places that I hadn't seen in the original game, and I am so happy that they got to make this story what they wanted and explore different aspects of Kratos' character that maybe that you don't get to see if you haven't played the reboot of the series. So I would say if you haven't played God of War Ragnarok or the original God of War that came out on the PS4, then please go check it out. It's definitely worth your time, and I would give it a glowing review no matter who asked me. The next 5 games on this list are definitely thrown for a loop because of a couple of things. The first game that I want to talk about is Batman Arkham Asylum. So I only played this game for about an hour in January. I did one session. I thought I was going to play it a lot more than I did play it. And I think it's because I tried to pick it up in the middle playing God of War Ragnarok, and I got sucked into the story so much that I just couldn't play it. I just couldn't find the time. It felt too similar to me in terms of gameplay and aspects. And so I decided, okay, I'll save Batman for later. And funny enough, I'm not going to talk about it a lot right now because I'm actually playing the whole game in February, so I'll give my little 2-second review of Batman Arkham Asylum when I get to February. But the beginning of the game was really fun. I've never actually played the Arkham games, even though I know they're a beloved series, so this is kind of a first-time try for me. The only thing I've ever really seen is some of my friends play it while growing up, so I'm excited to see why everyone loves this game series so much and why people say that Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 are the Arkham Spider-Man games. So I don't know if I'll love them as much as I like the Spider-Man games. There's already things about the game that's annoying me, but I also have to remember that it came out in, I think, 2008 or 2009, and just kind of let that lie while I'm playing the game and see how I feel about later titles like Origins and Arkham Knight and Arkham City. The next 2 games kind of go hand in hand. Kind of. The first one is Pokemon Sword. So I kind of wanted to play Pokemon again after making my Scarlet and Violet review. If you haven't watched that, go check it out. I really wanted to pick up Pokemon Sword. I wanted to do a comparison video, like a back-to-back comparison video. And while I thought Scarlet and Violet were a little bit disappointing, at least for my aspects, I actually love Sword and Shield, rather. I think that Sword and Shield are very, very, very fun games, but they also have their flaws and they're not amazing. I mean, they introduced Dex Cut, which, you know, I arguably think is good for the game, but I think it's definitely worth a try and I want to talk about it. The problem with that is I just don't feel like picking up the game again right now. I don't know what it is about Pokemon. Maybe it was editing the Scarlet and Violet video, or maybe it was the fact that I've been playing a heck of a lot of Power World, which we'll talk about at the end of this video, but I don't know. I really didn't want to pick Pokemon back up, at least not right now. And I don't know in what aspect I will pick it up. I might even leave it for a few months and maybe I'll play Legends Arceus or something. I don't know. But I just want to say that I love Sword and Shield. If you're looking for a traditional feeling Pokemon game on the Switch, I would probably say that Sword and Shield's the best one besides maybe the Let's Go games. For me personally, I just love the Pokemon designs. I love the region design. I love the way that they give the gym leaders these big like crazy feelings, and I really like the game. I think that while the game, I just think that people give it a bad rap. Not only did I play Pokemon Sword and Shield, but I also tried to pick up the Pokemon DLC for Scarlet and Violet. Yes, I know at the end of the video I said, oh, I'm finally playing Scarlet and Violet's DLC. I'll have a video out soon. And then I started playing Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and I also started playing Power World, and the DLC for Scarlet and Violet just kind of hit the back burners because, well, if you watch the video, you'll know I don't really love the games. From what I have played of the DLC for Scarlet and Violet, though, I will say that I think that I'm really excited to see where it will go. I mean, I know that the DLC is done, that we've got the stuff on Blueberry Academy as well, and the epilogue for the whole thing, so I was kind of hoping I would be able to finish playing it before Pokemon Day, but with some of the other things I've been playing in February and other things I've been working on this month, and just being busy in general, I just don't think I'm going to have the time to pick it up yet, and I don't even know if we're going to see a big presence for Pokemon Day anyways. So yeah, I know, everybody wants me to play the Pokemon DLC, they want to hear my opinions on it, they want to see what I think, and it will come eventually. I just don't necessarily, at least right now, know when that's going to be. I also want to say that I definitely stopped playing the DLC because I started playing Power World. Power World is immensely fun, and I will cover it a little bit at the end of this video, but I also just made a big 30-minute long video for it, so if you want to hear me talk about it at length, you can just go watch that video. The last big video game that I played this month was Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. This is a game from my childhood that I absolutely adore, and I think that it's a portion of history in terms of Paper Mario or Mario in general or RPGs that's been kind of lost on the younger generation because of how much Paper Mario has changed over the last few years. While I do own Origami King, I haven't actually really played the game yet, and I know that it has its haters and the people who love it, so I'm excited to give it a shot, but I also know that whenever the Thousand Year Door remake comes out or remaster, I probably won't get a chance to play the original game anymore because I'll probably only play the new version. So before the remaster does come out, I want to give this older game a chance, like from my childhood. I want to give the game from my childhood another shot, and I want to make a review on it before the new version comes out, just so I can lay down my thoughts and my feelings on the original version and maybe just, you know, dip my toes into a little bit of nostalgia. I mean, like, I love the dialogue, I love the world design, I love the aspects of the paper. I love that whenever you go to Rogueport and you can talk to Luigi and he'll give you like these stories on what he's been doing and how it kind of mirrors what you've been doing, and I just love the charm and the way that the game plays. I mean, it's one of the only RPGs I played as a kid besides Pokemon, and I think that's saying something because it kept me interested as a small child for many hours, and not a lot of video games could do that in the past. I plan on making a full-length video of the Thousand Year Door eventually. I also plan on beating the game in February, or gonna try to beat it in February, so I'll probably talk about it again in that video, but it's the 15th of February, so I don't know how much longer I'm gonna have to beat some of these games. So the final game on this list has taken up most of my time already in February, and you'll probably know what it is already. Power World came out in January, and so I want to put a little bit of that in this because I did start playing it when it came out, and I think that it's worth talking about at least a little bit. The more I sit on Power World, the more I realize how much I just enjoy playing the game. It's kind of become my cozy game. I started my own world away from my friends, and I've been kind of playing both worlds. Currently I'm on a little bit of a break because I think I played it a little bit too much, but I do think that the game is wonderful. It kind of plays on how I feel and my nostalgia of Pokemon and creature catching, as well as a brand new aspect of a game. Like, I don't play survival games, so it's been really fun to jump in and be able to use pals and create farms and make bases and design things and go out of my way to catch different pals, and it's been really fun. So if you want to hear my real thoughts on the game, make sure you go watch my Power World video. I'll link it at the end of this video so you can go check it out. But I'll also probably talk about it in my February video, at least probably more at length than I am right now, because I did play it for the first like 15 days of February. So I think it's probably worth a little bit in this conversation. And those are all the games that I played in January. I know this video is probably a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. I'm hoping I can cut a little bit of the gunk out and I can keep it a little bit more trim. So we'll see how long it is. If anything, it'll probably end up being around a half an hour, so who knows. If there are any games that you would like to see me play in the future, please leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to give any game that you love a chance, and I would love to make some more content or some different content and have some fun with it. Up next on the docket is going to be a Star Wars Jedi Survivor review. So if you're excited for that, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you're hitting the sub button, and we'll have another one of these during next month in February, hopefully with less games, so I can kind of spend a little bit more time with each game, talking through my processes and why I wanted to play each of them, because talking about 10 games at length, I didn't want this video to be too long, and it's already kind of too long, so who knows? I cannot wait to share with you some of the content that I've been working on and cooking up in the background. I have a bunch of friends and we've all been working on different things, so I can't wait to share just what my future looks like with all of you guys. So thank you again for all the support on the first couple videos on this channel. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope that the audio software and everything sounds good on this video. I won't find out until I stop recording. Again, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.